I hope I have completed. So I think last class what is completed? Hmm. Decorator concept is completed. Okay. Have you practiced it? Hmm. Right. So practiced or not, but that depends on your sincerity. If you are not sincere, you won't. If you are sincere, you will practice. That I need not to, because my responsibility is to teach you perfectly. Later, it depends on your sincerity. Next, I'm going to introduce today the most important concept called exception handling in Python. Exception handling in Python. So I'm going to discuss. Okay. So exception handling in Python. So what we are going to discuss, it's a most important topic. Most important topic. So if we come to this exception handling, very, very important topic. So first we need to understand purpose of purpose of exception handling. Purpose of exception handling. Next, I'm going to talk about what is exception, what is exception, what is exception handling, what is exception handling. After that, we talk about. Before that, we talk about types of errors, types of errors. Next, after that, we talk about building points, building points in building points to be remembered, to be remembered in to be remembered in exception handling, just like a formula points. Then we talk about, this is about first level concept based. This is next we talk about keywords, keywords for handling, keywords for handling exceptions, keywords for handling the exceptions, keywords for handling the exceptions. There we'll talk about, there we'll talk about number one, try. Number two, accept. Number two, accept. Number three, else. Number four, we talk about something like finally. Fifth, we talk about raise. This is the one. Syntax for handling. Syntax for handling the exceptions. Syntax for handling the exceptions, followed by programming examples. And here we talk about various forms of various forms of except except block, except block, except block, followed by programming examples. And before that, we talk about here only types of exceptions. Types of exceptions. There we'll talk about it. Predefined, predefined or built-in exceptions. Built-in exceptions. BUILT, built-in exceptions. So second one is called what programmer, programmer or user or custom defined exceptions. Custom defined exceptions we are going to discuss. And of course, here I will show you programming examples here. Okay. Now, syntax for handling the exceptions. Variety of examples will go for it. Next, third level, we go for it. Development of development of programmer or user or custom defined exceptions. Development steps for developing programmer defined. I'll go for it. Steps for developing programmer defined exceptions, followed by programming examples. Programming examples. Then start with Here I'm going to end with next one, something like ATM implementation project. ATM implementation project with exceptions, with the predefined and programmer defined, with the pre and programmer defined exceptions, with predefined and programmer defined exceptions. Okay, this is our topics, which is the one we are talking about it. Every faculty may touch the exceptions, but you see their note says they will tell exceptions in 1 or 2 days over. But we deal this concept. They teach topic which I'm writing on the head, but they talk about 1 or 2 days. But I talk about almost 3 4 days. We'll explain with a application development, with the project implementation level. I will take care. Are you following me? So this difference you try to observe and make the things to move forward. So now I will move to the exception handling in Python. So here concept is 9 a.m. I'll move to the further concept name is topic name is exception handling. Exception handling. So there I will take notes. In this, I'll go for index. This is an index of exception handling. Suppose, for example, of course, I don't want to boast about it. For example, X faculty, X faculty, and KVR faculty. Why I am saying this is because this difference in my pandas class is coming. And I used to teach NumPy, pandas, matplotlib almost 50 days in the class. Almost 50 days. Because we are specialized in that data science related models. Suppose if you take Naresh IT only, suppose there is a concept of what list you take it, list concept you take it. Suppose a student belongs to X faculty. What he kept the heading list. He complete the list in where one day he will complete the list. What they will complete? Only concept they will complete. Only concept. That is theory only they will complete. No programming they will cover. That is the verify by yourself once. But here, what I spoke about it, list, list concept, list operations, list memory management, inner list, predefined functions, and many more operations discussed. And these many things will not take place. This student will feel what? Okay, sir, my sir is covered list. And this sir also says what? List. But what is the depth of the subject? That is a difference you have to recognize. So when they came to my class in NumPy, they won't understand Python. Why? Because we purely go for what? Coding. In NumPy, pandas and everything, they need the functions in where? List. But up to that, they know what? List. But when they come to this class of NumPy, pandas, etc., they don't know what? List in list, they don't know. Functions also, they don't know. So, heading is important. At the same time, how much depth we learn, that is an important. Understood that or not? So, when you go to any level of subject, practically that is the most important for you. So, Himanshu, it is not necessary for you at this timing, pandas and all. Next batch, when it starts, I will intimate. That time you can attend. Okay, now? So, right now, don't worry. Just I'm saying the difference. So, this is exclusive index I'm giving to you, and we will move to the further. So, try to understand carefully. Now, I'm entering into the subject. So, don't take much time. Let us start understanding. So, Yunus, attended your first NumPy class, observed some students were not able to say data types. Yes, they don't know data types also. Even same institute students. How many data types they know? Only two data types. 14 are there, you know. They know how many? Only 2 into float. I asked first day that question only. Right? That's why faculty is most important to cover the subject. At the same time, students should feel responsible. 14 you are saying perfect. But do you remember all the functions in list? Hmm? Everybody remember? Dictive, set, everything? Everybody. Right. If you remember, you are sincere student. If you don't remember, I can't do anything. Correct or not? You have to put your hard working. Anyhow, let us move to the further. Now, students, I am going to discuss this entire concept. I am going to discuss. I am going to explain so thoroughly, and I am taking to this level of it. Almost at the end of every topic, we are almost coming to the extreme programming things. Try to do practically more and more in the class. So let us start with the subject of exception handling. So I'm going to give you introduction to exceptions, exception handling. I'm going to talk what is its importance in real time projects. Importance in real time projects I'm going to discuss. So let us start. Take an example, something like this. Directly I'm going to take it like this. Errors. Errors you take it. How many types of errors are there? 3 types of errors are there. One is compile time errors. Compile time errors. Next is called what? Logical errors. Logical errors. And next is called what? Runtime errors. Runtime errors. Don't take much time. Compile time errors are those which are occurring during compilation of the Python program or during the interpretation of the Python program due to syntaxes are not followed. During what time it is going to come? Compile time it is going to come. Compile time. Due to what these are coming? Syntaxes not followed. Syntaxes are not followed. For this, because of this reason, you will get the compile time errors. Go to the example. Go to the example here. I am going to take it. Here I am going to say right click, run as administrator. Here I am going to take up A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, C is equal to A plus. I am taking C is equal to A plus. So I am taking C is equal to A plus. So I am going to get it. See what is this error? All of you read out syntax error. Why the syntax error is coming? Because of what? C is equal to A plus. I am going to take up. A plus I am going to take up. So this is coming because of A plus. This is coming because of A plus. That means plus operator expects left side one object, right side one object. You did not give. This is called our problem of syntax not followed. All syntax problems are called what? Compile time errors. So number one error is called what? Syntax error is an example of compile time error. One more thing, all of you. You are supposed to write A is equal to 10. See, wherever my cursor is waiting, without disturbing, I am writing. Suppose I am pressing space, I am pressing. B is equal to 20, I am writing. You will get indentation error. You will get indentation error. This also you are violating the syntax rule. So every statement must starts with what? Extremely left side. When there is an indentation symbol, then only you can write indentation block. Other than that, you cannot press the space. Indentation error is also one of the example of compilation error. These are the one more error. This is the error. Are you following me? Right. What is the example for syntax error? Compile time error, syntax error, indentation error. One more error I will write it. Students, AB value is available. Now I am writing C is equal to A plus B plus K. I am writing A plus B plus K. AB values are available here. Yes, taking K, which is an unknown in my PyCharm, which is unknown in my Python program, which is called what error? Name error. That name error is also caught by the Python compiler only. So Python compiler checks for the existence of variable names which are not there, which is going to be called as which error? Name error. So what are the examples of compile time errors? Syntax error, indentation error, name error, name error. These are the syntaxes like this. So coming to the point of it, compile time errors are those which are occurring at compile time during syntaxes are not followed. Compile time means what? .py program to what? .pyc program time. .py is a source code. .pyc is called what? Intermediate code, which is known as a bytecode. During this time, these errors are going to come. What are the examples, ma? What are the examples? Come on. Syntax error, indentation error, good. Name error, name error, name error, name error. Are you following me? Good. Now I'm going to, who will solve these syntax errors? Generally, who will solve the syntax errors? You only need to solve now in real time. Whenever you are getting the syntax error, indentation error, and etc. Eunice, Uma, user will not user will not solve it. Programmer will solve it. User means what? A person who is selling the jalebi, pani puri outside is called what? User. Will he come and rectify the Python program? He will not. Will he come and rectify? No, he will not. Who will rectify? Programmer only during solved by whom? Solved by programmer only. Programmer only during what time? Development time. During development time only, this will be solved by the programmer only. Understand? User means what? Who doesn't know anything about the development, who doesn't know anything about the programming. That is known as what? Solved by programmer only during which time? Development time. Logical errors, I am going to talk about it. Logical errors. Logical errors occurs during execution time. Is it clear up? Yes. During which time? Execution time. During execution time or during what time? Runtime. During execution or runtime, these are coming. Sir, why these errors are coming? Why these errors are coming? These errors will generally occur due to a wrong formulation, wrong formulation, wrong formulation, or wrong logics, wrong logics. Because of this only, what errors will come? Take an example here. Take an example here. I am saying A is equal to, my requirement is like this. Calculate A plus B by 2. A plus B by 2. Provided A is 10, B is 3. A is 10, B is 3. A is 10, B is 3. Then how do you calculate this now? One of the programmer who is giving this now, one of the programmer P2, what P1 is doing? He is writing simply C is equal to A plus B by 2 he is writing. What is the answer here? 10 is substituted. Plus 3 by 2 is writing it. What is writing? 10 plus 1.5 is writing. 1.5 is writing. That is called what? 11.5. 11.5 I am writing it. Are you following me? Right. So coming to this point now, 11.5 he got it. Now P2 is a programmer, I am writing it. P2 is a programmer, I am writing it. What I will do? What I will do? Here he is writing. One more programmer is writing. A plus B by 2 is writing like this. By 2 is writing like this. What it indicates? According to this formula, understanding is important, correct? So bit A plus B to be done first, later to be done by 2. 10 plus 3 by what? 2. 10 plus 3 by 2, which is called what now? 13 by 2, which is known as what? 6.5. So P1 programmer feeling that his answer is correct. P2 programmer feeling that his answer is correct. Both of them are feeling that their answers are correct. No compilation error is available. They are feeling that their answers are correct. But whose answer is originally correct? P2 answer is correct. This is called a wrong result. Why this is wrong result? Because of what? Wrong formulation. Wrong understanding of the formulation. I think you are understanding. This is known as which error? Logic error. Logic problem, logic error, and formula problem. That's why this is known as logical error. Generally, in colleges and all, they will talk about this one and this one. Logical errors are coming due to this now. What is occurring because of that? Results in, results in which result? Wrong result will come. Wrong result will come. So, this is to be solved by whom? Solved by whom? Programmer only. Programmer only. At which time? Programmer only during development time. During your development time only you need to take care. So compile time errors and logical errors are occurring at which time? During your project time only they are coming. They are all supposed to be solved by the programmer only. I think you are following me. This is related to the concept of what? Compile time errors and logical errors. Now I'm talking about which error? Runtime errors. So what is this runtime error deals with? Very simple here. So runtime errors are dealing with, these runtime errors are also known as what implementation errors we can call. Implementation errors. Implementation errors. Implementation errors. Take a best example. I want to take it. Take a best example. Suppose, for example, I'm asking, you are coming to my company for facing an interview, asking, write a program, write a program for calculating division of two numbers. Division of two numbers. This is the question I gave you. This is the question I gave you. Once if I give this question, what is happening? You are writing Python code. How you are writing? Accepting two numbers from the keyboard. Accepting two numbers from the keyboard. What you are doing? Input of enter first number. Enter first number. Enter first number. Now next what you are doing? Enter second number. Second number. This is second number. Don't take much time. Next is called B. This is. Next you are entering C is equal to what? A by B. And print of what your A is equal to comma A. Next we are writing what? B is equal to P you are writing. P you are writing. Next you are writing div is equal to what you are writing? C you are writing. Like this is the code you have written it. This is called a div1.py. div1.py. This is my logic. See students, when you wrote this logic, you have written, this is what you are writing in a normal level. Generally people will teach you. So running number one, you are showing me like this. So running number one, which is run by whom? You, run by the developer. That is a programmer only. Developer or a programmer. Or programmer is running. Carefully try to think of. What is the first one is coming? Enter which number? First number. First number. Next is called what here? Enter second number. Enter second number. So here enter the first number. I am saying the value called 10. I am taking the value called what? 5. You entered 5. And you are saying div is equal to what? 2 is coming. This is comes under what? This is comes under result. Then you are thinking that today I will select in the company. Because you only developed it. You only developed it. This is run by developer. Programmer only developed it. And programmer only running. But in real time, what is happening? You are developing, somebody else is running, correct or not? You are developing, myself I am running it. It means end user is working on your project. So you are feeling like that. And you are expecting that you are going to get the job. Or if it is an examination, you are expecting that you will get 50 out of 50. If it is an exam, you are expecting that 50 out of 50. If you are writing a job exam, you are getting an offer letter. Next is called about run number two. Who is developed it? Developed by you, executed by, now see, executed by end user who don't know anything about it. What he is doing, carefully try to follow. In this case, enter the first number 10, enter the second number 5x. 5x, whatever I like it, I will enter 5x. What will happen in this case? First number converted. Is first number converted? Second number unable to convert, right or not? Which error will come? You don't know because you are out of order, you are wasted. So that time I said you, when you go to the concept of it, all are wasted. So మీరు వేస్ట్ అని చెప్పాను ముందే. సో గో టు ద టైప్ కాస్టింగ్ టెక్నిక్. Maresh value error is only the useful student. Typecasting techniques you take it. Typecasting techniques you take it. Int you take it. 5x I said 5x. Case 1, case 2. This is called pure integer. We can convert it. I am entering some sort of what? Any numerical value, some letter is involving. You will get what? Value error. Pure string is entering value error. This part I was explained so many times. So many times I was explained. Int of something like 2x, which is going to be called as what? Value error is going to come. Name error, type error, these are all called waste answers. Already explained. This is explained. Where? In typecasting techniques only explained. Type error. So many error names I said. So in the typecasting techniques already I was explained it. If you don't remember, what can we do? So this is going to be giving you what? Value error is going to come. So this is going to come in this case. This message is going to come. Generally, when you give this message like this, when you give this message is not going to be understandable by end users. This message is not going to be understandable by end users. Will you understand? This message is going to be known as what? Technical error messages we can call. Technical error messages we can call. These are not understandable by the end user. End user will understand what? User friendly error messages. They won't understand this type of message. Who will understand these messages? Programmer only. Even some of the programmers like you cannot understand because you don't know value error. No? Myself can understand because I am a pure programmer. Because I know subject and all. I will understand that it's a value error. Because you did not say it is a value error, right? So you are almost like a user only. So technical error messages, understandable by whom? Understandable by whom? Understandable by programmers. Understandable by programmers. Programmers. But not by whom? End user. But not by end user. So end users expects which messages? User friendly error messages. To do this process, what we do? We are going to use exception handling technique came newly. That concept I am going to use it. So I am using a technique called try. What is try? You don't worry about it. Int of what I am doing? 2x I am writing. 2x I am writing. Except I am writing value error. So I am writing here, don't enter. Don't enter. This is I am explaining in the class. Don't enter alphanumerics, symbols, and don't enter ALNUMs, symbols, and pure STRs. Pure STRs. Don't enter this. If I press enter key, what is coming? This I am getting which message? User friendly error message is coming. Earlier is coming which message? That means when the end user enters which input? The wrong input. By default, which message is coming? Technical error message is coming, which is not understandable by end users. End users will understand which messages? So it is the responsibility of the programmer to convert which messages, technical error messages into user friendly error messages by the concept of what? Exception handling. Because of giving user friendly error messages, it is a strong programmer. Because of giving technical error messages, strong programmer. Because of giving user friendly error messages, everybody will understand that this is a strong application. If they give which message? Technical error message, that kind of thing cannot be understandable by the end user. It is called a very weak program. So how can I make my program to be robust? By the concept of what? Exception handling. So this is which message? రాశాను కదా మొద్దు బాబుల టెక్నికల్ ఎర్రర్ మెసేజెస్ అండర్స్టాండబుల్ బై హూమ్ ప్రోగ్రామర్స్. సో ఇండస్ట్రీ రికమెండ్స్ టు గివ్ యూ విచ్ మెసేజెస్? యూజర్ ఫ్రెండ్లీ ఎర్రర్ మెసేజ్ లైక్ దిస్. నేను ప్రోగ్రామాటిక్ గా చూపిస్తున్నా, ఆల్వేస్ షోయింగ్ ఇన్ ద క్లాస్. దిస్ ఇస్ విచ్ మెసేజ్? user friendly by using which concept? Exception handling syntaxes that I am going to explain in the class. So that type of messages, user friendly error messages to be given to the end user. Such a type of user friendly error messages will come because of which concept? Exception handling concept. So why we are using exception handling concept? Converting technical error messages into every real time projects will convert technical error messages into user friendly error messages. That is the concept of exception handling. So because of exception handling, what type of applications I can develop? Robust applications I can develop. This is one type of technical error message. End user got it. Let me run second example. Let me run one more time. Running number 3 executed by end user. He is entering 0 here. First number 10, second number 0. What is happening because of second number 0? See what is happening. Here I am writing 10 by 0. 10 by 0. What is happening again? I got a message which is called what? Zero division error. That also I already discussed it in the arithmetic operators only. This is which message? User friendly error messages. User friendly error messages. Understandable by whom? Programmers. But not by whom? So I need to give which message? Don't enter 0 for denominator. That is called which message? So converting technical error messages into user friendly error messages. Which concept is required? Exception handling. So what is the use of exception handling? Converting the technical error messages into user friendly error message. How many times the pro developer runs? One time. You are entering which input? Valid input you are entering. Getting what output? Valid output. End user is intentionally entering which input? Invalid input is entered. Invalid input entered. Which message is coming by default? Whenever I enter invalid input, which message is coming? Again here invalid input is entered. Invalid input is entered. Again which message I got it? So here you need to understand two things. One is, with this discussion, you have to understand when I am giving input, at what time I am giving input, during what time I am giving input, runtime. Whenever you are giving runtime, whenever the input at runtime, giving what input? Valid input if you give it, valid input if you give it to the project, that will give you what? Valid output. It is the open secret number 1. Second, when the input is given at runtime, which is invalid input, which is an invalid input, the Python project will give you by default what? Technical error message. By default, it will give you technical error message. By default, it will give you technical error message, which is going to be understandable by programmers only, but not by end user. But not by end users. Such a type of messages are not understandable by end user. By using exception handling concept, technical error messages are converted into what? User friendly error messages by using the concept of exception handling. So invalid input is called 50%, and valid input is called 50%. Getting output is 50%. Handling the invalid inputs is the next 50%. Strongness purpose, we go for it. Are you going to be understandable? So, anytime from now onwards, anytime when you are entering wrong input, you need to go for getting straightforward. You will get which message? Technical error message. But you need to process it and give user friendly error message by using which concept? So, think about carefully. The student is writing the exam. What are the possibilities? Pass or fail. Pass means what? Successful output. Fail means what? Exception. What will do next? What will do next? Nothing is there to do. So life is also one Python program. Life is also one Python program. If reading notes well, doing everything perfect, you will get the job. Not reading notes and all those things, you will get what? Exceptions will come. Exceptions in life level, not possible to do it. But in programmatically, you can go for doing this. I hope that runtime errors, when you are going to get it, valid input will be there. I'm going to give finally valid input gives a valid result, and invalid input gives what? Technical error messages. Technical error messages are not recommended to give in the software field, recommended to convert into which message? User friendly error message. Best example, take your mobile. In that pattern home screen unlocking, you take place. Pin is there or not? You'll drop some pattern pin number na. When you enter something wrong, what will happen? Invalid pin or invalid pattern. Try again or not? What is that meaning? Something entered wrong. Which message is showing? User friendly. That is the by default. All the startup companies, all big companies will give you by default which message? User friendly. How this user friendly generally coming? Because internally they have written which code? Exception handling code is written. So exception handling code makes our project to be robust or weak? Robust. So to make our project to be robust, compulsory I have to learn what? Exception handling. So come on now, if you follow me, what is meant by runtime error? The error which I am entering at runtime, the error which I am getting at runtime is going to be known as what? Runtime error. So runtime errors are occurring generally because of what? These errors are occurring during execution time. These are occurring at execution time. Why these errors are occurring? Invalid inputs entered by entered by end user or application user. Application user. Suppose you are an ATM customer entering into the ATM machine, keeping the card in reverse order. What will happen? You'll get the message or not? What is the message? Remove the card and insert properly. What is that message? User friendly. Okay, you like that. And you feel that this ATM software written perfectly. And you remove the card and kept properly. Again asking, enter the pin. The card is kept properly, insert the pin. You enter the pin again wrong by mistake. What is happening again? Invalid pin, try again. What is that message? Simple, very easy. So, how to write that code? So, invalid pin and try again. But the message was already written in the ATM software or not? How to write in our code also? How to address such kind of code? Invalid input entered by end user. At which time? At which time? Not in the development time. End user always comes at which level? Implementation level. At which level? Implementation level. What do you mean by implementation level? An application being used by the people is comes under implementation. Three things. Errors, syntax is not followed during the program development, compile time errors. Logic wrong, logical error. Logic errors are not there, syntax errors are not there. That means my program is successful. I installed in the client organization. In the client level, end users are entering which input? Wrong input they are entering. That time what message, what will be occurring? Error is known as what? Runtime error. So when the runtime errors will come, when the end user enters which input? So come on, quickly. Syntaxes not followed. మీకు చెప్పాలంటే చాలా కష్టం. Syntaxes not followed. Compile time errors. Logics not followed. Invalid inputs entered. Runtime error. Runtime error. During the program execution, this will come. Invalid inputs entered by end user, you will get what? Runtime errors. Good. Coming to the next point of it. Coming to the next point of it. Runtime errors are going to be occurred at which level? Occurred at which level? Implementation level. During the execution or runtime, invalid inputs entered by end user or application user at which level? Implementation level. And runtime errors are those which are occurring during execution time because of invalid inputs entered by end users. And by default, runtime errors gives which messages? By default, runtime errors gives which messages? Technical error messages. You have seen practically in the class, we entered something like that. We got this technical error messages. Understand here. Technical error messages are coming, which are understandable by whom? Programmers, but not by whom? End users. Understandable by programmers, but not by end users. But not by end users. I think not understandable by technical error messages, understandable by programmers, but not by end users. So it is a responsibility of the programmers to convert technical error messages into which messages? User-friendly error messages by using which concept? So what is the definition of exception handling? Why we use it? In general, all languages, runtime errors means what? When it is coming? Execution time. Why this runtime error is coming? Due to invalid input entered by whom? When I am running the project, two ways, success or unsuccess. Unsuccess means what is that? Runtime error. Success means what input? Valid input. Invalid input. These are called test cases. Your success or not success depends on how you pass the input. Passing input correctly, what result will come? Success. Not passing input correctly, what error will come? Runtime error. Runtime errors gives which messages? Technical error messages. Not understandable by whom? And but not by whom? That's why we are using what? So what is the use of exception handling? Converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages. Converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages. User-friendly error messages is comes under what? Exception handling. So the process of converting technical error messages into which messages? User-friendly error messages is called what? Exception handling. Is it understandable? So process of converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages is called what? Exception handling. So moreover, students need to be very careful. In order to go for this exception handling, one need to understand the keywords which I already listed here. These are the keywords which I am going to go for it. That is called handling the exceptions. So the overall conclusion is very, very simple. What do you mean by exception? What do you mean by exception handling? I want to go for giving conclusion. Last and final. Syntaxes are not followed. Compile time errors. Logics are not followed. Logical errors. Invalid inputs entered by end users. Runtime error. Runtime errors by default gives technical error messages. Understandable by programmers, but not by end users. That's why we need to give which messages? So software industry says always displays which message? user friendly. Go for which concept? Exception handling. So what is the definition of exception handling? The process of converting technical error messages into user friendly error messages is called exception handling. Here I want to tell you, now I'm going to conclude. For my clarification, I'm asking, when do you get runtime errors? When the when the end user enters invalid input. That is known as good. That runtime errors in all the languages, technically we can call it as that runtime errors. That runtime errors in every language. That every runtime error is known as what? Exception. Every runtime error is known as exception. Every runtime error is known as exception. Is it clear or not clear? Every runtime error is known as exception. So tell me, exception is coming because of what? Runtime error is coming across anigada. Actually, invalid input. Look at invalid input gives which error? Runtime error. Runtime error is known as what? Exception. Exception will give you by default which message? Technical error message. Whatever runtime error is there, from now onwards, it is called what? Exception. So every invalid input is known as runtime error. Runtime error is known as exception. Exception by default gives. So straightforward, I'm saying every invalid input is considered as a exception. Every exception is going to be giving. That's why today we are using exception handling. Exception is going to give you which message? That I am doing what here? Handling. Handling means what? Converting technical error messages into. So this is a very basically asking question. What do you mean by exception? What do you mean by exception handling? If these two words are clear, you know the subject. Otherwise, we don't know the subject. I gave very clearly. Again, I will repeat. Every runtime error is coming because of invalid input. Invalid inputs by default gives you technical error messages, understandable by programmers, but not by end users. In this case, runtime errors are known as exceptions. Invalid input is known as runtime error. Every runtime error is known as an exception. That exceptions gives you which messages? Technical error messages. That technical error messages I want to handle. That is called exception handling. Process of converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages. I think it is more clear. So let us check you whether you followed or not. Syntax is not followed. Which error? Compile time error. Logics are wrong. Right. Entering wrong input. Exception and runtime error. Okay, runtime error. Runtime error is known as what? Exception. Exceptions gives you what messages by default? Technical error messages. We are using which concept? Converts. That's all. Simple. Compile time error, logical error, runtime error, exception, exception handling. These are the vocabulary first. Clear? Let us go to the types of errors. Types of errors. While I'm executing the program, while I'm explaining the class, student is sleeping. That is known as exception or not? While I'm explaining, student is sleeping. That is known as what? Exception. Exception means what will happen? Subject cannot understandable. Subject cannot understandable means which error it is? Technical error. And nobody can solve in the lifetime. If you ask me, sir, explain again means what? Problem. Right or not? Come to the point of it. Now I'll go for showing exceptions here. Small discussion I want to show you. Types of errors in the Python program. I'm giving for the sake of the notes. Carefully try to read out. Read out. The purpose of exception handling is that to develop or build robust applications in real time. Develop To develop any real time project, we need to choose a language. By using that language, we develop, compile, and execute various programs. During this process, we get three types of errors. They are compile time error, logical error, runtime error. What is compile time error? I am giving. These errors occurs during compilation time. .py to .pyc. These errors occurs due to syntaxes are not followed during program development time. These errors are solved by programmers during development time. Logical error. These errors occurs during runtime or execution time. These errors occurs due to wrong representation of logic. These errors always gives wrong result. These errors are solved by programmer during development time. So systematic notes is giving, systematic explanation giving. Still, if you don't understand problem, what is the next? Runtime error. Also known as implementation means once an application being used by the people, that is known as what? Implementation. So come on, these errors occurs during runtime or execution time. These errors occurs due to wrong input or invalid input entered by end user or application users. When runtime errors occurs by default, all the languages gives technical error messages which are understandable by programmers but not by end users. This is not a recommended process in real time. According to industry standards, it recommends to display always user-friendly error messages for making the application robust by using exception handling. Note. Did you understand? Don't read, just you need to understand. Are you following me? During understand reading, you need to understand. So next note, when the end user enters valid input to the project, then project gives successful result. When the end user enters invalid input to the project, then project must display user-friendly error messages by using exception handling. Clear up? So when I am writing the real-time project, two things. How to give result successfully. When they enter wrong input, how to give the user-friendly messages to them. That is there in our case. Even in real-time project, they are called test cases we can call. Test cases are nothing but what? Always looking into any other invalid input is coming. Suppose if you take ATM application, what are the invalid test cases? Card insert properly or not? PIN enter correctly or not? Amount entered properly or not? Valid, invalid, they will be checking. Invalid means not processing, giving the message what problem they taken up. This is comes under what? Types of errors in Python. Clear? Online students, is it clear? Is it first of all clear? So who is this? From Ongol.mba at BHI. Who is this person at mba.py something like that? So, so coming to the point of it, I think it is more clear for you. Now I'm going to enter into the further. So I want to show you one small points here. Building points I want to show. Building points. Try to understand certain points you read out. So 5 points you read out. When the application user enters wrong or invalid input, then we get runtime error. Then we get what? Runtime error. See in the bracket, invalid input, runtime error. Next, all runtime errors by default gives technical error messages. Invalid input gives runtime error. Runtime errors gives technical error messages. Next what? Definition of exception. Every runtime error is called exception. Every invalid input is called runtime error. Every runtime error is called exception. Are you following me? All inputs are considered as exceptions. All inputs are considered as exceptions. Are you following me? Invalid input is known as runtime error. Runtime error is known as exception. All exceptions by default gives technical error messages. Right? Next, definition of exception handling. Is it clear? All exceptions by default gives All invalid inputs are called exceptions. ఇక్కడ చూడండి ఒకసారి. So 10 by 0. What is the invalid input here? 0 denominator. What is the invalid input here? Alpha numerical value is an input, right or not? That is known as what? Exception. Come to every గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి ఇప్పుడు. All you people, any input is wrong, it is known as exception. Simple. Every valid input, output. Invalid input, exception. Two things, remember. All exceptions by default gives which messages? Right. Fifth point. Definition of exception handling. The process of converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages is called exception handling. Clear? Right. Done. Next, I am going to enter into the further. That you need not to worry about it. See, students, what happens when I will take one program now? One beautiful code I will write it. Here I am writing program for calculating division of two numbers. Division of two numbers I am going to take it. చాలా జాగ్రత్తగా వినాలి. Division of two numbers. All the students need to listen carefully. I'm almost coming to the coding only. div ex1.py. A is equal to or S1 is equal to, careful. I'm writing a detailed code here. Input of enter first value. Enter first value. I'm going to give you. So next I'm going to take it, enter second value. S2. S2. Second value, this is called second. So coming to the second value. Next I'm going to calculate S3 is equal to S1 by S2. What is an output? Is it valid or invalid? Come on, what is the type of S1 first? Come on, STR. What is the type of S2? STR. STR by STR. STR divided by STR. Come on. Invalid input నాకు కూడా తెలుసు. What will be the error? What will be the error? What will be the error? Quick. Come on. What will be the error? Option A, value error. Option B, type error. Option C, syntax error. Option D, attribute error. Come on. Come on. Option E, మాకేం రాదు అసలు, శుద్ధ మొద్దులు ఇట్లా. No input, no, don't know anything, none. It is called like that. What is an answer? Come on. So it is called a type error. Type error it is called. Type error. Wrong operation is performing. Already shown you this type error to you. Save this code. Now I'm going to take it. Go to this place. Here I'm going to enter 9am exception handling. I will take the first program div1.py. Take this one and try to run this code. CMD saying here runtime error. Here I'm going to take up KVR and now I'm saying Python here. Say 9am exceptions here. Exceptions here. Now I'm saying py div ex1.py 10 and then 5. Generally people will feel that it is a valid, but they are which type of values they are? String by string, not possible. Which will give you which error? Type error. Type error it is going to give you. Type error. It is not possible to do this kind of operation. It is called which message? Technical error message is coming. Be careful. Technical error message is coming. Out of that, be careful about this error. This entire technical error message is coming because of this error only. Already errors I made you perfect in my class. If you remember. If you don't remember, we can't do anything else. So it is going to be type error. It is not a syntax error. So Mr. Naik, so type error, syntax error will come in which case? This is what is your falling down. Compile time errors only you will get it. Is it compile time error? No. This is called a type error. Anyhow, to avoid the type error, I am going to convert into which type? integer type. So what I'm doing, a is equal to int of s1. Next is called what? B of int of s2. Next I'm going to do what? C is equal to a by b. Now here I will write it. Here I will write it. Int of what? A is equal to, I will write it a. B is equal to, I am writing b. Next I am writing here C is equal to div is equal to, comma, what I am writing C. So this is called what? Program execution. Program execution ended. Program execution ended. This is program execution started. Program execution started. Program execution started. Program execution ended. So try to carefully look into that. Div ex1.py. Try to run this code. Now I am entering. Py. See this now. What is program execution started? Entering 120. Which input? ఏ ఇన్పుట్ అది మొదలు ఏం రాదు మీకు అసలు ఇన్పుట్. వాట్ ఇన్పుట్? ఆల్రెడీ సెట్ వ్యాలిడ్ ఇన్పుట్. ఇక్కడ చెప్పాను కదా ఆల్రెడీ. సో 9 o'clock batch ఐఎమ్ గెటింగ్ సో మచ్ ఆఫ్ డిఫికల్టీ ఫ్రమ్ యూ పీపుల్. హియర్ ఐ ఆల్రెడీ షోన్ యూ. వ్యాలిడ్ ఇన్పుట్ గివ్స్ యూ, valid input gives you successful result. Invalid input gives you user friendly error message. So here I am going to give you valid input. Then Rasan very clearly I wrote it. I don't know whether you know English or not. Valid input gives valid output. Invalid input gives you what? User friendly error message is supposed to give. I am entering which input? Invalid input or valid input? So definitely gives you what? Valid result only coming. Everything I wrote it here. Meeku gurtundali first. Concept you need to remember. So I'm getting valid output. Perfect result is coming. Perfect result is coming. So coming to the point of it. Who is this? Harshita. 9B. What is line B? Huh? ఓకే. ఇలాంటివన్నీ ఏం కాదు కానీ మీరు ఫస్ట్ ఆన్సర్లు చెప్పండి. ఫస్ట్ ఆన్సర్లు చెప్పడం నేర్చుకోండి. వీటికి ఏముంది? సో అవుట్పుట్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు బి వ్యాలిడ్ ఇన్పుట్, వ్యాలిడ్ అవుట్పుట్. కామా మిస్సింగ్, బ్రాకెట్ మిస్సింగ్, అది కాదు ఇక్కడ స్టోరీ. దట్ ఇస్ నాట్ ఏ స్టోరీ. స్టోరీ ఈజ్ వాట్? సబ్జెక్ట్. వ్యాలిడ్ ఇన్పుట్, valid output is coming. Next I will enter next case. Here I am entering 100. Now I am entering 2x. What will happen? That is the question mark. This is basically invalid input. Where is the invalid input is occurring? That I have to trace it out. As a real-time programmer, I need to find out at which statement I got invalid input. At which statement I got invalid input. At which statement I got invalid input. That I need to find out. So step number 3, step number 4, step number 5, I got my input. What is the input I entered? 100 I got it. And I got it what? 2x also I got it. 2x. A is equal to 100 is converted. B is equal to int of s2. 2x is converted or not, you need to tell. Is it possible to is it converting this to x here? That means in line number 7, your PVM is not able to process. Because S2 is having which input? Invalid input. To understand this coding, you need to have prior knowledge of coding perfectly. మీరు కోడింగ్ చేయకుండా ఇక్కడ వచ్చి కూర్చుంటే ఏం రాదు ఫస్ట్. You need to have prior coding knowledge, errors, names, programming previous knowledge. You must know perfectly. Because I am talking purely coding. If I talk about theory, you'll go out of order like your college level. Here I am talking purely coding. Coding means it's not a joke. If you without practicing, if you come to the class, you will not understand. So S2 is going to be called what? 2x, which is not possible to convert. So line number 7 only exception is occurring. So what happens when an exception is occurring in line number 7? PVM cannot do this. What will happen when PVM is not able to do? PVM simply coming out of it without executing the rest of the statements. Without executing the rest of the statements, PVM will come out of it. Because of that, what will happen? Because of that, what will happen? What is the result? Technical error message is going to come. Technical error message is going to come. This technical error message nobody will understand because of which input? Wrong input. Wrong input. Suppose still if you want to see cross and then here I am writing S1 is equal to or first value is equal to first value is equal to first value is equal to second value is equal to second value is equal to S1 and S2 here. S1 and S2. That S1 and S2 I am converting into. Later I am doing the division. So try to run this and try to move forward. Just try to interrupt it. Try to run this code. Enter the value called 100 and say 2x. This 100 and 2x is printed, but 100 is converted. B value in line number 9, PVM is unable to convert. Because of which input? Invalid input. Every invalid input is called exception. In line number 9, what is occurring? Exception is occurring. This exception is occurring. When an exception is occurring, there are three actions that takes place internally. What is the first action? Program execution abnormally terminated. Abnormal termination means line number 9, it is simply coming out without executing the further statements. That is the abnormal termination. Second one is what? Abnormal termination. One more example I'll tell you. You went to the ATM center, insert the card properly, PIN number entered wrong. Next statement is withdraw and taking the amount. PIN number entered wrong. Will it ask amount to enter for withdraw? Simply it will come out of the process of transaction. That is abnormal termination taking place. PVM comes out of the program flow, and giving you what message? Technical error message will be coming. When exception is occurring, there are three things takes place. Abnormal termination, PVM comes out of the program flow, and by default gives which message? Technical error message is going to come. Technical error messages are going to come. These are the problems which are taking place. These are the problems taking place during the exception occurrence. So whenever an exception is occurring, there are three things will takes place internally. One is called what? Program execution is abnormally terminated. PVM comes out of the program flow and you see what? Technical error messages are going to come across. These things are comes under exception occurrence. What happens? Once again, I will tell you. Line number 3, no problem. My inputs are entering, decided to enter 100 and 2x, for example. Line number 3, no problem. 4 also no problem. 5 also no problem. 6 also no problem. 7 also no problem. 8 also no problem. Ninth line, PVM is unable to process. Then PVM is doing what? Exception is occurred. First step, come out of the program execution abnormally. PVM comes out of the program execution without executing the rest of the statements. And by default gives what message? Technical error message. These three things will occur. These three things will performed because of error name. What is an error is occurring? What is an error is occurring? What is the name of the error here? Value error. SID is saying, Naresh is saying. Naresh, not technical error. What is that error? Value error. What is the name of the error? Value error. Because of value error, it is coming out of it and gives you what? Come on, because of value error. Here it is taking place value error. That's why program execution is abnormally terminated. PVM comes out of the program flow and generates which message? Technical error message. Because of these three things are occurring because of the error name only. So program execution is abnormally terminated. PVM comes out of the program flow and displays the technical error message. These three things will occur because of the error name only. What is an error name? Value error. So because of this error name, three things are occurring here. So every exception is simply considered as one of the error name only. As we are already aware of it, index error. Why index error will come? Because of what? Invalid indexes. Why value error is coming? Because of wrong conversions. Why type error is coming? Because of wrong arguments passing, because of wrong operations passing, technical error. Why attribute error is coming? Because of wrong attributes using. Why module not found error is coming? Because of module not imported properly. Why unbound local error is coming? Because of modifying the global variable inside the function without global keyword. Why key error is coming? Because of key is wrong. Why next is called what? One more error is called what? Attribute error. Yes, I already addressed it. Why module not found error? All those things I explained. Almost all the errors are coming because of wrong inputs only. That's why every exception is considered as one of the error name. Every exception is occurring because of the error name only. So technical error messages are coming. Program abnormal termination. PVM comes out of that, generating technical error messages because of the name of the error. That error name today are called exception classes. That are called exception classes. So once again, execution abnormally terminated comes out of the PVM comes out of the program flow, generates the technical error messages. If I want to do these three things, one error name is required. But error names I said already. Today onwards, they are going to be called as what? Exception classes. Whenever an exception is occurring, PVM will take automatically exception class name. What is an exception class name here? Value error. Value error is one of the exception class. Actually, it is known as what? Error. Which time it is coming? During execution time. Which is known as which error? Runtime error. Runtime error is also known as what? Exception. That is known as exception error class today. Every exception is one of the exception class. That class will abnormally terminate. That class will make the PVM to go out of it. That class will generate the technical error message. That's why if you look at whenever I pass 5x invalid input, what is an error? That only makes to generate the user-friendly error message or technical error message. Technical error message. Here you see denominator 0. Which error? That is resulting which message? Same type of thing. I used what here? Try and accept. Which message I give? That's why these class names, exception class names are very, very important nowadays. So zero division error, I said, all these things are very, very important. So the question is, when the exception is occurring in the Python program here, when the exception occurs in the Python program, the following steps takes place internally. What is the number one? Program execution abnormally terminated. PVM comes out of program flow. PVM by default generates a technical error message. To do, seventh, to do step 1, step 2, step 3, PVM creates an object with respect to an exception class. Exception class is nothing but what? All our error names are comes under exception classes, whose object will create automatically. Example, ఇంకొక example చెప్తాను చూడండి ఇక్కడ. If you are unable to catch it, S is equal to Python. Beginning level నుంచి చెప్పుకుంటూ వస్తున్నాను. Why I am saying this error? S of 0, P. P is an answer. No error at all. S of -1, no error at all. Which is the message? N. S of 10 I am passing. Do you have 10th index here? Do you have 10th index here? Definitely this 10 is invalid input or not? Invalid input is known as what? Exception. Exception, this is called. This is called an exception. Exceptions will give you what? Technical error message. Come out of it and generate technical error message. To do that three steps, what will be creating internally? One object will create. Object need what? Class. Already done all these things. Object need what? Class. What is that class name? Exception class. That is known as index error. Index error. That index error is called today what? Exception class name. Whose object created by PVM and automatically generates which message? Technical error message. So invalid input is known as exception. Exception is occurring internally. What is created? Object is created. Object need what? Class is required. This is not a normal class. Classes here, smooth execution of the classes, abnormal termination will be taken place. That is known as what? Exception class. That means for every invalid input, there is one object will be created. That object require what class? Exception class. Some fighting is going on the street. Police people will come. These are called what? Exception classes. These are called exception classes whose object will be created here. So invalid input, what is happening here? One object will create. That object require which class? Exception class is required. So finally, I am going to take up conclusion. So here the conclusion is when an exception occurs in Python program, then PVM creates an object of appropriate exception class. Hence, all Python all exceptions are considered as objects of exception classes. So what are the exception classes? You know, index error. Actually, they are called what? Errors. Which errors? Compile time error? Are they compile time error? ఎట్లా చూస్తారు? So syntax error are called what? Indentation error is called what? Next is called a name error. Name error is called what? These are all called compile time errors. This is index error, module not found error. Those errors are occurring at running time. They are known as runtime errors. They are known as runtime errors. Keep in mind, index error. I wrote so many number of exceptions. Other than these things, attribute error, index error, key error, module not found error. So many number of exceptions are written. All of them are comes under runtime errors. So if you practice the programming well, you can understand this subject. Otherwise, what can I do, students? Hence, all type of exceptions are considered as exception classes. So you know number of errors, right? What are the various types of errors? Error classes, tell me. I said already in the class. నేను చెప్పాను కదా ఆల్రెడీ. వాల్యూ ఎర్రర్, ఇండెక్స్ ఎర్రర్, కీ ఎర్రర్, అట్రిబ్యూట్ ఎర్రర్, మాడ్యూల్ నాట్ ఫౌండ్ ఎర్రర్, అన్బౌండ్ లోకల్ ఎర్రర్, జీరో డివిజన్ ఎర్రర్. What they are all called? Runtime errors. Runtime errors are called exception classes. Those objects will create 10 by 0. 10 by 0 will give you what object create? Internally creates last and final. Internally creates what object? Zero division error. This object created by PVM when this is taking place. Similarly, when dictionary is going to be like this, last and final. I did not explain any time like this because by seeing some of the offline students' faces, I decided to explain again. So because even one student is not answering, I cannot move forward. D1 of 30, D1 of 40, D1 of 40 is going to be called what? Invalid key. Internally creates key error. Internally creates which error? Key error. Internally creates key error. This key error, zero division error, key error are comes under what? Come on. Exception classes. That's why every invalid input at runtime creates an object of one class. That class is not a normal class. That is called one type of exception class. Adi చెప్పాలనుకున్నా నేను. So here I am saying the last point. Any type of exception is occurring When an exception occurs in Python program, PVM creates an object of appropriate exception class. What are the exception classes? All sorts of errors are comes under exception classes. Hence, all the exceptions are considered as objects of exception classes. I think you are following me, right? Students in online, confirm it. If it is clear, you say clear. Otherwise, say not clear, so that I will try to give some other way. If anybody is not clear, if anybody is clear, you say clear. If anybody says not clear, say not clear. There is no mokamatams here. If you are careful enough, you see that. Offline students, are you clear? Girls, clear. Okay. So come to the point of it. All people are saying it's clear. So now I will move to the further. So these are comes under the building points you need to remember. Students, when you look at this kind of thing, okay, up to here you try to understand. Is it okay? So tell me, anything syntax mistakes, which error? Compiled error. This is only the test for you whether you are getting me or not. Any syntax errors are coming, that is compiled error. Any formula problem, logical error. Both of them will occur at what time? Compile time errors and logical errors occurring at which level? Development level, code development level. That is in the still the project is under development. Project is completed. Project is released, launched at the client place. Client is doing wrong input entering. What will come? Runtime error. Every runtime error by default gives which message? Technical error message. As a programmer, what he will do? Convert into what? User friendly error message. By using which concept? Exception handling you are going to do. So in the exceptions, every exception is considered as what? Object. Every object require what? Exception class. That exception classes are nothing but what? Our errors only. Our errors only called what? Exception classes. Why I said already error classes? Because to connect easily here. If I tell newly that classes here today, you cannot understand. So that's why every invalid input is runtime error. Runtime error is called exception. When exception is occurring, immediately object will create. Which object? Error related objects will create. That error related objects are called exceptions only. That's why every exception is considered as exception classes. Up to here, you try to understand. Don't go for another type. Up to here only I taught today. Tomorrow class, I will go forward. This part I will come to that. And next I will enter into this place also tomorrow. Tomorrow is a Saturday. And don't go to underground. If you go to underground, if you don't come tomorrow, Monday if you come, you will get problem. So tomorrow is the most important class. Don't miss it. Thank you. Carry on. Any online students doubts are there? You try to hold on. I'll clarify your doubts. Any more doubts you have? You can raise your hands. Any more doubts you have? You can raise your hands. SID. Sir, what will happen if we print those errors like value error? Value error is the name of the class. That cannot be printed now. By default, the errors are going to come. The errors are going to come. Value error related errors are going to come. This type of error will come. Value error will not print. The type of errors will come like this. Okay, students.